think create, definitely. That's the one thing I'd say. Create anything. It doesn't have to necessarily be music. It can be just drawing. It could be writing a poem. You could write a little song if you want, something like that.
We're joined for New South Wales Through Our Eyes with Bailey Pickles today.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming, Bailey. Firstly, strong name, Bailey Pickles. I really like it. A 16-year-old, you're in year 11 right now, but you've had recent fame with TikTok performances, and one of your incredible skills is that someone can play you a song that you might have never heard before and you can play it back. And I've also obviously learned a bit about you recently, about your love of music, full stop.
Yeah.
So I'm so excited that you're here with us today. Can we start, Bailey, by you telling us a little bit about yourself?
All right, so I'm Bailey Pickles. I'm a 16-year-old composer based in Camden. And since I was 3, I've been playing piano, just writing my own things, just little ditties. But yeah, I think composition and just music in general has always been something that I've been drawn to. I used to hum as a kid, which was probably strange at, I think it was like 1.5 years of age. I think I was already starting to hum tunes. So I was drawn to music, and then I got pushed towards music by Grandma and Grandpa because they were teachers of music.
Yeah,
and
right.
yeah, so that's...
Do you have a first memory? So you say 1.5 and then 3 years humming things. Do you have a first memory of a song that you hummed, or?
Well, Mum told me I used to sing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, like hum it. I've never been good at lyrics, so I used to just hum the tune.
Your parents obviously didn't make you listen to Bruce Springsteen like mine over and over again.
No, definitely not. No, they didn't. I don't think they ever pushed me too hard. They used to say, I used to just go and play. But I started Yamaha at age 3 or 4, and that was basically like a training program that trained my ears. So instead of learning from paper to just translate it to your instrument, which is I think most people sort of do nowadays, it's very just there to there rather than what's in your head, what you can hear to there.
Yeah,
so that's
right.
a different kind of process, because if you're just playing what's on the paper, you're very limited to what somebody puts on the paper.
Yeah.
So I think an important part is to just set aside the paper. When you're learning, set aside the paper and just try and communicate what's in your head out onto your instrument. Or you could sing, because everyone's got a voice. So, everyone has access to that. But yeah, I think that's important, and it's how my education started. We used to sing as we played in Yamaha. So we'd have like a simple little chart, and we'd sing do re mi as we played, and that was very important. And we used to go up to the front of class. We used to clap rhythms that the teacher would clap. We'd clap them back. But yeah, so it was very, very oral sort of training, as opposed to just written and playing.
And it's obviously an expression of your feelings or your emotions. Yeah. And most recently, you've been using your tool and your gift on TikTok, which is another platform where people kind of express themselves. Talk to us a bit about this fame that you've received recently on your TikTok performances.
Yeah, okay. So that's more of a thing that was on the side. Mum came up to me one day, and I think it was like a month ago. She said, we should probably start putting some stuff out there now. Like I'd started a YouTube channel. I'd put a couple things up there, but I wasn't regularly putting anything out. But TikTok it's gotten big. Lots of people are using it. So Mum said we may as well utilize that just to let people know I'm here, because the hardest part of being a creative is getting out. It's showing what you can do as a creative, monetizing your work as well. That's difficult. So yeah, it's been great exposure to put my stuff up on TikTok, and obviously lots of people are starting to like it, so that's cool.
Yeah, that's great. Have you had any kind of, interactions with other musical people because of the TikTok, or have people been reaching out to you? Yeah, right.
Yeah, quite a few people have reached out. I can't obviously accept all of them, but I've had a few people, and there's lots from different countries as well, which is awesome. A lot of New Zealanders, that's cool.
Yeah. How does that make you feel? You know, you've got this gift, which is something that's obviously an expression for you, and you've had it for a really long time, and it's part of what you love. But the fact that you've got TikTok and people from across the world who are reaching out, who are, influenced by your work, how does that make you feel?
Yeah, it's definitely strange, because it was very sudden.
Yeah.
That's probably the strangest part about it. but yeah, it's cool because I feel secure now that people can hear what I can do. So I'm out there now. Now I've just got to start putting some more stuff and gather an audience that understands me. I think understands my music.
And who is another kind of artist or musician that you would like to be part of that audience, or who you'd like to work with or reach?
This is a massive, like, this is way up there, but Jacob Collier probably.
I've learned a little bit about Jacob Collier. Can you tell us a bit about him and why he's someone, in the past 2 minutes, why he's someone that I guess you can relate to or that you would like to work with?
Right, so he's a 24-year-old musician based in London. His music's just so inspirational because he's obviously so young. He does it all himself. He records it himself, all the instruments. He does lots of collaborations with other people as well nowadays. When he first started out, it was just him by himself. And I think that process of working now is so much easier because we have the access to technology. And he's made that apparent, and lots of people now are inspired by him to do themselves, like put themselves out there, their own identity into their music. And yeah, I just feel like, I love what he's doing, and yeah, he's inspirational because of that.
And so what's kind of one of the big goals for you? So you've got Jacob Collier as a person you want to work with. What's a goal for you around music and this talent?
I'm not entirely sure where I want to go with it, but I'm definite that I want to compose music. I love composing music. So writing for other people, that'd be cool. Getting them to play my music, because that's awesome. Perhaps writing for an orchestra, that'd be cool, because yeah, again, them playing my music, it's a really cool feeling. And sharing music with other people, collaborating with other people.
Can you tell us what the process is like for you? I mean, obviously we've seen on TikTok and the Today Show that people can play a song to you and you can hear that and play back. But what's the process for you in terms of creating your own music?
It's kind of a process of collecting people's ideas and searching, kind of like going into the detail of what they're actually doing and pulling that apart and seeing where are they going with this, how did they get there? And then you can apply that to your own music. I think that's a fascinating process. And you can see that with experimental music, which I've been delving into a bit more lately with my teacher Carl Vine, because experimental music, lots of people aren't drawn towards it because it's not necessarily pleasant for the ears, but I view it as it's a way of expressing yourself, because you can put ideas into the work and then sort of flesh those ideas out and develop an idea, grow an idea. Yeah.
What is experimental music, if you don't mind me asking? Music. For those of us who think of the Friends episode with Ross playing a keyboard and hitting various sounds,
well, I mean, that
what
could
is it actually?
That's pretty close to what it sounds like.
Yeah,
but,
okay.
Experimental music it's a genre that's not in the box that we're in at the moment. Mm-hmm. So with Western music, everything we listen to at the moment is very boxed in. It's all very, very similar, which is why for lots of songs, not all of them, I'm able to predict where they're going and then play them back. Whereas experimental music, it's extremely difficult to do that because it's more developing an idea and trying to move away from what everyone else is doing, move away from being stuck in that box. So at the moment, I'm exploring all around here as opposed to just stuck in here.
And why is music important for you? I mean, what does it kind of, aside from a creative process, what other things does music bring to you?
Right. I think I just love, I don't know why, but I've just always loved music. It's always in my head. I've always got music in my head. Right now, there's music playing in my head.
Is it a song we know, or is it just one that you're creating?
It's one that's come out recently. It's a Jacob Collier song.
Right.
Yeah. It's varying degrees of how far back or how far forward it is. Sometimes it's like right in your face. It's really hard to concentrate talking to someone. But yeah, it's always constantly there. But at the moment, it's like about there. So it's a bit in the back. But yeah, it's always been part of my life. So I think, just playing it is just feels right. It feels normal because it's always there. So it's something I've been practicing subconsciously. Have you ever, and you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but have you ever, in the way that you describe your brain and how it works, it's incredibly fascinating. But have you ever had any difficulty, I guess, in school or in learning when you're obviously focused on something else and
a teacher might read that as not paying attention,
Yeah.
or people might not read that. Have you ever had any kind of interactions like that where you get an opportunity to explain what's going on and people understand that, or you might get sent to the principal's office? 'Cause
Right.
you're
No,
not paying attention?
I don't think I've ever been sent to the principal's office.
There we go.
Which
Parents would
is
be very
good.
proud.
Yeah, that's
Well done.
right. Deputy, that's another.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, I've always had difficulty with learning because of that. But only recently have I discovered it's because I've got that music in my head, and yeah, as a kid, I always struggled to just concentrate
Yep.
on what people were saying. It depended. So sometimes, obviously, with that music thing, when it's right in front of my face, I still struggle to concentrate. Like I was shopping with Mum and Woolworths the other day for Duke of Ed, actually. And we're picking up ingredients, and I just couldn't concentrate. I just wasn't there because I had this tune in my head. I just couldn't concentrate. But now I'm trying to learn to pause it,
Yep.
and then I can concentrate on what's happening in front of me in the world.
Do you do things like I see often that some people record the tune that they're thinking on their phone so they can kind of get that out, and then do you do things like that, or?
Yeah, sometimes I have done it before, but I don't think it's a process like that, because it's that can work if you're right at the studio at the moment, or like on the way to the studio. But I find there's so many ideas that are rushing past. If I grab that one now, later on it won't mean as much.
Yeah.
So it's depending on how I feel at the moment, which is this happens all the time. I'll be recording something and I'll love how it sounds. It's great, but I have to stay with it and work on that until I get to a point where I'm like, okay, now it's safe. Now I can leave and go have dinner.
Yeah,
Because if I leave then and come back, I won't have the same feeling about it, and it won't sound good. So lots of time I delete it.
Right.
Because it's not the feeling that I was in before.
Seems like you might be your worst critic or your best critic.
Quite possibly.
So we ask a couple of questions that we've asked everyone in this series, and as a young person, what would you like to say to the children and young people of New South Wales?
I think create, definitely. That's the one thing I'd say. Create anything. It doesn't have to necessarily be music. It can be just drawing. It could be writing a poem. You could write a little song if you want, something like that. I think that creative process, at the moment we're putting a lot of emphasis on the end product as opposed to the creative process. Yeah. And I feel like kid would go up to their parents and say, look at this artwork I've created. The parents' first thing is to say is, oh, that's good or that's bad, but that can be just as destructive. Like good can be just as destructive as bad. Yeah. Because I don't think it should be, the emphasis should be on the end product, because it's.
I read the other day in a book that by giving our children phones, we took away the boredom, and in boredom is where you create and you find things. And
we took away phones, did you say?
Yeah, so when we gave children and young people phones, when we took away their ability to be bored, and in boredom is often where you go out and create and you find new activities, but your phone is where we kind of go for ease of things now.
Yeah.
And I found that really interesting, because I'd never thought about phones in that sense, in the fact that they've taken away the ability to go out and create your own things because you're looking for answers on the phone.
Yeah, that can be the case. Yeah, because I think at the moment our ability to be
content
is much more shallow than it used to be, because we've got this phone and it's very like everything we watch. You've got 1 minute or less than 1 minute. It's often like 5 or 6 seconds to grab our attention. And that, I don't know if that's a good thing, because we're not focusing for as long as we used to. We shut off very quickly.
Yeah.
And I think that's what phones have done. But phones are also great because now technology is great, because anyone can create music. Anyone can create things on their phones. They can draw.
Yeah.
You can share it with people across the world. So it's both good and bad. I think the possibilities are almost endless. It's a very wide world now, and we're starting to connect with other people, which is really good, because that's what music's about generally. A lot of music.
You have a very wise, balanced perspective there. Now, what's something that you want to say to the adults in New South Wales?
I think they should also create. I think it's very, very good for their mental health to create, because it's getting your ideas out of your head and putting them out. And it's time to forget about everything that's happening around you and just be you. Put you out onto paper, or put you into a song. Yeah, it's a very unique process, unique to you. And I feel like we're losing a lot of that at the moment because we're so caught up in everyone else that we're forgetting to do us. Yeah, that's what I think. So set aside maybe some time during your day to do something creative, but yeah, it can be anything.
So our last question, and you are young, so this is a hard one because I don't know what you would necessarily say to the 15 years prior to your 16. But what is something that you would say to your younger self?
So I think I've only started to realise this recently, but oftentimes I used to have an idea, put it out, but then scrap it really quickly. I think nowadays I'd say to myself, give an idea more time to nourish and grow that way before discarding it, because oftentimes the idea that you hear in your head or see in your head, when you put it out, it's there for a reason. It's come up because you've linked it to something else you've heard, something you've liked, and that's why it's there. So put all your ideas out, and then once you've given them time to grow, you can start taking them away.
Bailey, I feel like you are a wise human. I think that you have some incredible language that you use, nourish and grow, the way that you want to be content in yourself, and the messages that you've shared with not only adults but for children and young people today is great. I'm certain that we will see you go on to great heights, and I'm sure that we'll all be listening for your music in the future, and certainly at the Opera House when it's performed by an orchestra. But thank you so much for being a part of New South Wales.
Thanks for having me. That's awesome.
It's so good to have you.
Thank you.